Now, obviously, the first thing we have to discuss is the quitting, rather sensational quitting of the Football Association chairman, Greg Clarke, yesterday within hours of speaking to a Common Select Committee. Let's have a little listen to what he actually said.
If I look at what happens to high-profile female footballers, high-profile coloured footballers, and the abuse they take on social media.
Now, he made the fatal error of saying coloured footballers instead of saying footballers of colour, which is in our acceptable language to use. Now, I understand the difference between the two. I absolutely get that. Coloured people and people of colour are different phrases. They have different connotations. A lot of people say they don't understand the difference. There is a difference. However, he has been forced out, even though he was questioned by Kevin Brennan, a Labour MP, saying the language and did he want to apologise? He did apologise, and he said he was trying to use the correct language. He'd worked in America for many years, and the use of the word coloured was at the time, or people of colour was what he's meant to use. Should he have gone?
100%. And I don't actually think that there's anyone, certainly in the world of football or sports or anything I've seen in any of the papers this morning, that has suggested that that was the only option for Greg Clarke.
Why?
Because it clearly shows that the way that he's referring to people just shows that he's out of touch with what is
He's
now.
out of touch. Okay, he's a 63-year-old man. Okay, he's only 11 years older than me. He's probably a bit of an old dinosaur. I understand, that he has form. There's an issue. I am sure that a lot of his language is not politically correct and not. I've never met the guy. Don't hold a candle for the guy. Couldn't care less about the guy. I do care about people losing their livelihoods, people being hounded from jobs for a slip of the tongue. It's not like there's a tape of him referring to, gay people by a slur or using the N-word about black people. I mean, there was no malice. He was talking about sort of discrimination and the need to tackle the discrimination against women and against ethnic minorities in the sport. He misspoke. He used he used the word coloured instead of colour. Is that now a hanging offence in this country? Because it appears it is.
Well, yeah. I mean, the other thing is, it
is. Do you think if you use that phrase by accident yourself, do you think you should lose your job, even if you've not intended any malice from it?
But I'm not in a position where I'm responsible for an organisation that is supposed to represent. So that's why I wouldn't. I may well get fired. But if I didn't,
do you think that would be fair? People around the country worrying that one slip of the tongue, when there's no malice intended, that they should lose their jobs. Is that the country we want to live in? Because I'm amazed. This is the thing. Everybody's signing up to this. All the newspapers, all the bodies, all the sports correspondents, all Talksport. You're all signing up to this because everyone's trying to be politically correct. Just don't point the finger at me. We need to stop pointing the finger at people unless they are openly, outwardly, clearly, with malicious intent, being racist. I don't believe he was. I don't know what's in his heart, but there was nothing in what he said that deserves being sacked for.
He did also go on to say in the interview that anyone who says I'm gay, it's a life choice, would have the support of their mates. So he's not only mentioned used the word coloured. He's also said things about gay people.
But being gay being a lifestyle choice. Okay, I believe he's wrong on that. It's a free country. Why is he not allowed to think that?
Well, he may well be allowed to think that.
He's not. Obviously, he's not.
He can't. There's a difference between thinking it and saying it while you're.
Is there? Oh, so you're allowed to think. So now we've got not just a thought police. We've got.
No, absolutely. People can have their views behind closed doors, but if
okay.
Do you not think?
No, I think people should be allowed to wear their views. I'm intrigued to know if he was a Muslim and he expressed views about gay people, would he be allowed to keep his job? I think he probably would, because we'd say it's a cultural difference. Now he's a white old bloke. He's a dinosaur, so he's not allowed to say what he thinks. I don't agree with anything he said. I wouldn't say anything he said, and I don't think what he said. But I don't think people should be losing their jobs for saying what they think or slips of the tongue.
We'll have to agree to disagree.
I really hope it doesn't happen to you, mate.
I hope it doesn't happen to anybody, but the fact of the matter is...
Do you? But you want this guy to lose his job?
Well, I think as the head of the FA, you have to be more in touch.
I'm going to use the phrase, you have to be whiter than white.
Well, you have to be more in touch with public feeling and public perception, and at a time, actually now more than ever, certainly in my lifetime, where this has been an issue, you're supposed to be representing effectively the whole country in a sense of people that are following football and and they're looking to him to set an example of what
I think if
everybody
you
is
asked
talking
most
about.
people, do you think that someone saying coloured footballers instead of footballers of colour, should someone lose their job? I don't think most people think someone should lose their job for that. Simple as that.
Maybe, yeah, that is an opinion.
Is it just that actually people wanted to get rid of him? That he's an old dinosaur, and it's not. Isn't that what's going on underneath?
Perhaps.
Actually,
And-
people
but-
any excuse to get rid of this guy.
There have been other incidents. He's made other gaffes in the past, and I think the fact that in this one, well, it's not really an interview, but it was one conversation with the DCMS committee, he's basically ended up saying he said things. Basically, he said 2 or 3 separate things that
offended the thought police.
Well, not just the thought police. They will have offended people who he's referring to. I'm sure that black people may well have been offended by him saying that, and you know that what he said may have been acceptable 20, 30 years ago, even longer. It's just not. It's not acceptable to say those kind of things. You wouldn't say it.
But just because I wouldn't say it, because I understand the difference, I don't necessarily think that everyone who hasn't gone through years of training of it. I mean, trying to get for a lot of people, trying to keep up with what they are and are not allowed to say, whether they've got goodness or badness in their heart whatsoever, we don't know. Is exhausting. I don't want the thought police to take over in this country. That's all.
He's paid a lot of money to know what he should and shouldn't say.
It seems to me. I mean, I don't hold a candle for the guy. I'm sure he's an old dinosaur, but it seemed to me it was a slip of the tongue. There the grace of God go every single person in this country right now. It's 7:49. I'm going to let Jake off now. Let him out. Let him escape the studio. And we're going to get an update on the travel. This is Talk Radio. You are listening to the Julia Hartley-Brewer Breakfast Show on Talk Radio with the Sun Digital Edition app. Get your favourite newspaper delivered straight to your device. It's the Sun and then some.